That's all I did.
Kent is not joined yet, so, all right, let's get the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everyone, Dave is on vacation. Will not be joining. Kent is on vacation and I think he might be on Zoom. Kent, you on there? Yes, not. All right, so Kent might not be on either. All right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 7:02. We do have a quorum. So I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the motions that were passed at the January 15th meeting. Yeah, everybody has a copy of it in their packet. These motions. We have a second.
Second.
You already motioned it.
I second.
1 second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Next item, we had a request from the Tony and Joseph Wilmering to address the board regarding security. So, you want to, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to address you guys. On December 6th, February 6th, I leave every morning around 3:30 in the morning to go to work. As I was driving, I saw a vehicle parked in the lower parking lot, running with the door open, and I saw a person going into the walking past the gate. I only brought this up because the previous night on one of the social medias, my wife read that somebody was had reported that they saw someone running through the woods, and they ended up calling police and all that. When my wife reported this, she felt that it was not taken very serious by anybody. And I came to realize that or if there is, I don't know, of a official type of report that we can fill out that someone can follow. It's not so much that any one incident might mean some, but over a period of time, maybe we should have some sort of reporting systems that anyone who's out there sees something can fill out and say, hey, this happened at this time, and something that if needed down the road, the police or whoever could go back and look through it and say, okay, it happened this night, maybe it didn't happen to somebody else, but this person came back the following night or something like that. For 25 years, I lived in a neighborhood called Lake Sherwood, very similar to this neighborhood. I was on their security team, and we had it was a very simple form. It just basically gave time and date and the quick incidents of what happened. And they kept it for, I believe, 5 years, all these reports. And I can't tell you how many times that they actually went back through those reports to see if, you know, if something similar happened and be able to. So I would like to suggest that we have something similar here. That to create just, it doesn't have to be, you know, anything great, but.
No,
just
I
something-
think, not to interrupt, but I do think that the follow-up is the problem. You know, feeling like you were just left in the dark.
Exactly.
Like, yes, we took it seriously. Yes, they reviewed the videos. You know, I don't know what the protocol is in terms of reporting back. And
Well, it's
there's
just-
privacy issues, there's all kinds of,
Well, I do know there, because I was on that committee for
Yeah.
many years, that we, now at that time it was videotape, not digital. That we would actually, if it was, you know, applicable to the thing, that we would actually take snippets of the video and keep it in with the report. So, I would just like to suggest that we create something like this, and I'll be willing to even try to show you what they had or work with anyone on that. I would also like to suggest that, that we have maybe just the live stream available of our cameras on the webpage for like the beach or the.
sure, the main entrance or the
Exactly,
parking lot.
so that I feel, you know, we don't have someone here 20, now there, they had someone, a security guard at the front gate 24/7. We don't have that. So the more eyes that we have on these cameras, maybe we can catch some of this stuff that, you know, that they're destroying a bathroom or whatever. We can catch it while it's happening instead of afterwards.
I mean, have you heard of, you know, I mean, of course, the Ring cameras and the brand Ring, they have an app called Neighbors. And that's what I think that's probably as good as we can do unless we try to mimic that, but that's, you know, eyes at every corner, every house that wants to volunteer, and then you join an app. And now you know, you've got basically more cameras than we could install as an association. And I think it would be a step forward in terms of answering some of the questions. I think that we have, I know that I have a problem with getting an incident report and not knowing
Yes.
how to respond. It's serious, we're looking at it, and then I don't know if there's a second step.
Well, even having an official form so that down the road, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road, if something else happens, we can have something to compare to.
Yeah, and I think they have that, and it's all digital.
I mean, we have the incident report online that they can do the report.
Okay.
I don't think there's a ongoing log of them anywhere. You know, once the report comes in, you know, it either's gonna, depending what it is, I mean, it could go to any of the committees. It is ultimately the committee chair's responsibility for whatever area it belongs to, well, at least acknowledge we got. Okay, depending on what it is and the privacy stuff, you may not provide what the end result answer was. But, you know, we got it, it was addressed. You know, or hey, you know, if there's not enough here for us to do anything with, whatever that point might be. You know, on it, but I don't think there's any log of any of this that I'm aware of. I don't know if there is one.
That's what I'm saying,
So,
even just an official form that we can, and it'd be very simple, to, you know, put it in some kind of access database or whatever.
I agree.
And
And if we don't have that, I agree that we should have it.
Right.
Because if the same car's there the next month and doing something, you know, there's.
Well, before
this was very unusual because the car, I know was running, I saw smoke coming out, the driver's door was open and the guy was walking. It's like, this just not.
And I wouldn't think it looked right either, you know, reading the incident report, but looking at the video and.
And
It
that
turned out to be a very innocent.
And I'm sure it was, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Two young people walking someone to the car and then walking back.
And that, you know, I walked myself
I think that-
before, and I know how that is, so, but I'm just saying, I was just very surprised we didn't have, or at least I was not aware of, that
I would love to.
official form for me to fill out, saying this, and this, and then, like you said, there would be some sort of follow back and say, hey, we looked and nothing, this is what happened.
Yeah, and I think I would take the blame on the follow-up, not knowing the full protocol, kind of a newbie here still. So I think that will get better. But I do think that that's something as a group that we need to discuss and just say, this is our response time. You know, I work full-time, I'm not looking at
I
that.
understand, I do too, yeah.
So I would get it, let's just say 24 hours later or 12 hours later. Is that a good enough response time?
And I would also, I'd be more than happy to volunteer with you,
Yeah.
show you, and give you, I've worked on their security for many
Happy to
years.
have you.
And give you a lot of, stuff that they did that maybe we can do here.
Happy to.
And I just want to throw all that out there too, and help out, and I'll try to get, one of their forms that we used to fill out. And, maybe give it to you and show you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we should stick with an online form,
Yeah,
but we just need to
have the
catalog
ability-
that online information.
We have the ability, just like, I'm not sure which one of you submitted the request online.
I did it online.
So right next to it is how you can submit the online request.
Concern with pulling the video while it's fresh, because when you crack your cameras, I don't know how long it records. We have cameras at our house
Yep.
that record for probably 30 days. I don't know how time sensitive your cameras are for any of it.
I think it depends on how much it captures.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
but-
storage space.
Well, that's what it said in their report at their, you know, of course, that was videotape. We would copy some of the videotape and you can copy little
Right.
snippets, especially digital.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you got Amcrest videos of cameras, right? So if that's
You know,
the ones you have, I can even show you how we can set up a live feed on a page.
Similar, I think they're digital watchdogs.
especially for the holidays coming up too.
So I'm just, and, you know, just trying to throw some suggestions,
Done.
and I'll be glad to help you anywhere I can.
Okay.
Because, I feel the more eyes we have out there,
Yeah.
the more, you know, not that.
Well, we talked about last month, we talked about additional cameras, where would they be set up, but I think with everyone's home surveillance, and if we put a home camera and everyone those that want to volunteer to submit video when necessary, and we actually know who those people are, you know, then we do have Raintree, you know, eye in the sky, so it'd be good.
You know, because 99%, I'm sure it's all innocent, but there's that 1% that's not.
Better say, sorry.
Totally agree.
And it ends up costing us all.
So for some takeaways, can you draft something that Tilly can put in Raintree Roundup for next week as far as this ring neighborhood net?
The cam,
Camera?
we can call it
Whatever you
Raintree
wanna call
Net or whatever. you know.
Then I'll check with Tilly and I will do the takeaway to see if we can turn the incident reports into a stored log
Yeah, that can help do that.
that we have them.
I mean, I don't know what that,
I'll ask-
is that,
I'll ask her to start first because they're all submitted online.
Right, and they go there, but are they stored?
And if you need help with your webpage or that, they do that for, I'll be more than
I will reach out to you.
Okay. Can get it
Thanks.
digital-
Appreciate
digital,
No doubt.
And
I
then,
Totally agree.
and Glenn, I'll give you one more takeaway. Can you touch base with Dan to see if is there some way? Well, one, we'll have to discuss this too with Ted, is can we actually put the cameras that we have live stream to on the web?
I can say right now, not many people are gonna go for that one.
Why?
They're not gonna like that.
being surveilled.
Feel like they're being surveilled like that, like anybody in the
I
neighborhood.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I would restrict it to maybe the beach or the pavilion, the areas that,
Especially
We
in
had
the
issues.
beach area, just because people are in swimsuits and they're kids, people are really not gonna be comfortable with it.
After what happened.
Well,
last year.
okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Okay.
That can be something, I can understand someone
Yeah.
not having problems with it, but I'm just saying that it's just something.
It's good to know that we have a resource, you, that if we need help or information, we've got somebody. I mean, that's what Raintree is all about, volunteering your knowledge and your expertise.
And we, like on 4th of July and up there, we had the fire department come in and do fire watch. We also had, we contracted with Warren County to come in and watch, until the day or two and just things like that, because you can get the ambulance, you can get all of them in there for free. And because they use that as a promotion for them. And because that makes them more visible, and plus you have an ambulance right there, down there, and only on like July 4th, and the big days. Where you have the big crowds, and then we can, and it's good for them, and it's good for us.
Right, yes.
Thank you.
Just a
Thank you.
quickie,
It's not substation.
and that,
And we also had a substation, we had a Warren County substation at the gate. And it was more of a, the officers would come in and they just had a desk that they could do reports on or go to the back. And I thought that one may not be a bad thing here, that you have a, you have a squad car or whatever sitting right out there. It kind of puts a damper on somebody who,
Yeah, idea.
and all it took was just a little corner in the.
Yeah, you know what? I brought that up about 6 months ago, because we got this guard shack.
Yeah,
And I said, you could use that guard shack
that's right.
for exactly what you're talking about.
that the sheriff's department only comes in when they feel necessary, because.
Not
If you have and where they come in, they can do reports, they can go to the
Just give them
bathroom.
access to some place that's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Sit down, have a cup of coffee and give reports of this and that.
That guard shack could be used.
And why, we had just a little desk in front of it.
Yes.
And that roundup paragraph remind us too about the online incident report.
All right, thank you again.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much for allowing me to talk.
Oh, no problem.
And we'll have updates as we dig into takeaway items further. All right, on unfinished business, Glenn, you have an update for us at all on? I think last meeting, we kind of steered clear of RFID, right? It's not the,
You did, and there's been more research. So the update on RFID and license plate recognition, it's money, and we know that. And talking to Tom and others, if there's gonna be money spent, sounds like we should spend it on the towers that control the gate arms. Because they are old, there's components that are end of life. And before we deal with access changes, let's just make sure the gates work. And they're not cheap. Did you get a bid?
I have, several. Companies. Responding,
Okay.
hopefully in the next few days.
Okay,
I only got, even Bush's are, I'm coming. The manufacturer of the units, Liftmaster, they, on their webpage, there's find the dealers. And most of the dealers are either out of business or they don't do that anymore. But I found a couple.
do you have a guesstimate on like one tower?
That's what I was told. I haven't seen. the number.
45 or
45.
425? Oh, I.
Right. And we have 6 towers, right?
And then the spikes with play. You know, buy something new, they install it, and then you're fully warranty.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Denny, do you remember when the special assessment went through? Is there a restriction on what that can be spent on?
The last special assessment was in 41, I believe, and it was for maintenance and security.
But was there any restrictions around what?
That would clearly be security, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it could be,
There was 29,000 still left in the budget for security,
I think it's 30 something.
30 something.
From that assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. What I understood.
so it's been sitting there for.
Yeah.
Would be a great way to use it.
But for cameras.
So how many towers?
Well,
Would it be 3 towers?
Just make sure that we have working
Oh,
gates, but then let's go tackle on how we
So
enter.
3 towers, 6 towers.
Well, I would defer to Tom and Bruce, but I would start with the ends. I would definitely just start with.
I mean, the one thing I
Oh,
would
yeah.
also throw out there though, if you shared with us is like $2,500 for one flop camera, the license plate reader
Oh, yeah.
camera.
That's not thrown away, that idea.
Oh, but you got enough money at $30,000 to pay for 3 of those for 4 or 5 years, which will enhance the security for the place versus we're putting it on an arm and all the money is gone and now we're back to find money to do something to improve security here.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think if the gate were to break, what we're gonna have to figure out but. You know, I don't know, my thought is improve the security because that's what's been clamored about. You know, when we did a survey about how we should proceed strategically. You know, 35.6 people said get gates that you can't break. Well, we can't afford that.
No, can't do gates.
You know, the next one was with only 0.3 of a point off is get 24/7 security. We can't physically have people here and pay for that, but you can do some things electronically that potentially help out with that. So you know, I'm not sure that,
Right,
dumping all the security money, but, well,
So Tom, you said 4 to 5,000 per tower,
that's what I was told.
so you know, there's 2 towers per gate, right? So
I haven't
6 total,
I haven't seen that.
right?
right. And then we would have to assess, are the ends the most important? We don't, I mean, the outs could wait. And then we could do some flock
yeah,
cameras.
balance them both.
Yeah. So RFID is out. I mean,
Well, RFID and license plate recognition is
Pretty much
still in limbo and assessment. We're getting a test camera for license plate recognition.
You know, when that's supposed to
Dan's
come.
getting that from Digital Watchdog.
Any idea when?
Don't know. I keep bugging him about it, but he says it's coming. And then we can test the technology. Just not sure what we're solving with versus the key cards. I know it's very specific to the vehicle, and that's wonderful. But what was the initial ask of RFID or a change in system?
Well, today I'll share this. We have no clue who can open the gates to Raintree,
Because
you know.
the card system has been, is
is-
old,
No, the
they're
cards-
lost.
Yeah.
and everything. Get that.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, you know, I do trust my kid, but I don't know if he has a friend who lives here and he hands him the card. You know.
I've seen kids letting in people easily with their cards. just
And it's like,
swiping
look,
through.
this isn't to track people. It is when something goes wrong here and everybody blasts social media over, you know, we gotta do something about this. Well, if you can open the gates, we should know the person in the vehicle that has the ability to open the gate.
Right, and the gate card being tied to an owner is not
Well, you
And
can't.
Good
you can
enough.
get 10 of them.
because they are responsible for that
Especially
card.
if the neighbor has the money and doesn't care about paying.
But they're still responsible, they're still responsible for that gate card and that opening.
But we've got cases where you've got the car, you got the license plate, but you can't find the car in the camera system. You know, we got cases, and you're aware too, that we have the license plate, but we have no registry.
Yeah, we get a stack of them during the summer too.
And the sheriff is not overly willing to, without some crime that's not in their eyes,
Correct.
you know, minor trespassing, they're not gonna give us the license plate information. And sometimes when they do, it takes months to get it from them, so, you know, I think the advantage you have is, you know concretely that the vehicle's registered, who's it's registered to open the gate. And the only other way in here is the owner specifically let him through the gas gate,
Gotcha. Yep.
you know, or they broke in, you know, on it. So I think that's the advantage of first securing this place down. You know, I mean, we don't even know of the owner's cars that are in here. You know, I mean, the kids could take an owner car out that's not registered, and we don't even know who it is. And they were already inside here, but if you have to register it to get the car in here, you'll know who it is.
Well, we don't even have the car.
Go ahead.
Is that, isn't that RFID, is that thing that hangs?
It'd be like a regular sticker that you put on your window.
It reads that.
Okay, except it'll have a chip in the sticker.
Did they find out if it will read, if it reads yours and it will read the one behind you?
That was the
That was the
fear,
question that was hanging.
but we also know that RFID would work great for golf carts, where license plate recognition kind of falls short.
Will it read the car behind you though?
That's what they need to test
Oh, they don't know.
fully.
Okay.
Well, online, there's a lot of worries about that, and they
Yeah.
say that it does
With
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
with LPR or RFID.
with RFID, that it reads the RFID too far, you know.
Too far
Or back.
back, right, which would.
Well, supposedly now, correct me if I'm thinking wrong. So if I pull up, my RFID raises the gate
Mhm.
and somebody's behind me that maybe shouldn't be in, it's just like tailgating, you just don't let them tailgate you, correct? I mean,
Yeah, that's a tall ask though, for anyone to sit there and let the gate fall on them.
Get
Yeah.
rented right through the.
I don't know, I was just,
Don't work at B2, I mean. You could go like 10-15 miles an hour and it would pick you up long before
Right,
and shut down pretty quick too.
that's the idea. I mean, I thought the same, like even license plate recognition, you know, no one has time to plan the tailgating. And I think that would work.
Yeah,
With
it
RFID
works,
too.
But when it doesn't.
The problem is it's reading the car behind and.
Car behind.
Well, we're gonna step forward. We got a demo camera coming that will be.
Demo
able to-
camera coming, we can also do the RFID demo too, we'll test.
yeah,
I mean, that's what we should do.
Figure out what it is.
Right.
Okay. So we'll,
And I do know that. Once again, they were looking into that and if you would go up to 30 miles an hour, that you could, and it would pick you up. And the only thing I said was, what happens if dirty windshield or whatever, and it doesn't pick you up and you're going 30 miles an hour, you're gonna hit that pretty hard. So there's that,
We're gonna need more towers.
yes.
Faster towers. Yeah.
well, yeah, I think we're getting the demo, we'll test it. And then we'll decide. Okay, next, we have some new business, so, there are a couple, ballot item suggestions, here. One of them, I think you have it in the packet, one of them is a, proposed change to the assessments, that we have properties here, and basically you have a property without a house, you have a property with a house. Some of those properties without a house have boathouses, seawalls, driveways. Is that, the suggestion would be that you'll add a partially assessed lot. So the assessment for a partially assessed lot would either have seawall, boathouse, driveway on it. And, the price would be the midpoint between a house and a lot.
I wasn't recommending there for a while.
So pretty straightforward on that part, so it would be, that's what that one is, there's nothing more to it other than if you have one of those three things on the property, it's considered partially improved, and there would be a different assessment.
So do we have to go to put to make this a dollar line?
Well, we have to first decide, do we want it to go to Ted to
Yes.
review it? So that would be the first step. Okay. So we want Ted to review it or not?
So, person that has both lots. Has two lots, and even if they're conjoined, would they still have to pay that newer price, or? Cause like I own two lots, one has a house, one's not,
Does the other one have a driveway, a seawall, or
No.
a boat?
but if the other one would be, then that would be upgraded, so. Would there be a conjoined price for the two lots being together, would they have to pay that exact price? Because the way it is now,
You get the discount off it, it would just be this second lot would be a higher price. Instead of.
but the discount would still be there for the conjoined lots?
Yep.
Okay,
That doesn't, yeah, it doesn't change the discount of it, it just changes what it's tagged as. All right, so any opposed to sending it to Ted? Nope, all right. And I'll go to Ted. The next one, I'm gonna skip that.
Is this yours or?
No.
Cause I would say, was it emailed to you or something? Cause.
No, it was me.
Okay, I get it. Okay, cause I was gonna say, I don't have this first thing. Okay.
The second one is currently today, people that are delinquent in their assessment. And, you'll hear in a minute, there's still 280 of them. We, by the covenants, charge 1% interest, which is pretty low compared to today's standards for anything, so the proposal is to double it to 2% per month. Then we might run into the legality of how high you can go there, but so, I mean, is everybody okay with 2? Do you want to go higher? It's a 3.
We can start at 2.
2? All right, any opposed to send it to Ted? No. Everybody agrees that one goes to Ted. All right. Pardon?
What percent? 2%.
Go from 1% to 2%. Only impacts people that haven't paid on time. All right, the other one, I'm not taking, even though I wrote it, I'm not taking ownership for it. This came from Kent Jarris with Dave and I, verbally. So we have roughly 300 lots in here that are owned by the county. And we have 280 delinquent properties, so we're getting no money off of these. So some people live in an area of Raintree where they might want to have the property across the street from them. And, you know, Kent's suggestion was if a current owner buys the property across the street from where they currently own, and the street's the only thing preventing it from being combined, which, you know, you can't combine it, extend the discount to them, because we would go from getting no revenue on those properties to getting revenue on those properties from people that we know are paying. Now, you're gonna get 53% versus 0. But I added to it and said the caveat needs to be the lot you're acquiring needs to be delinquent or owned by the county. Because otherwise, we're going from full revenue to 53%. So instead of creeping forward, we're going backwards if we just allow a paying property to do that. So I added to this, it's gotta be delinquent, it's gotta be owned by the county. And if a current owner buys it, we would figure out a way to extend the discount for the properties they would acquire that would be across the street from.
So it would not be grandfathered in to the people who already own a lot across the street from them. You don't get a discount on
The way it's
it. They
written.
won't get one, right?
The way it's written, correct.
Even though they've been paying their assessments for the last 20 years.
Yeah. Well, we could consider putting it to a current owner, but part of that is though that we're going backwards in revenue, and the whole idea was to convert the non-paying ones into paying. So.
The flip side of that, Nancy's argument is that moving forward, if the lot is sold, then is the discounted rate gonna still apply to it?
No, if it was sold all in its entirety, across the street, lot 2, the structure would stay the same. If they sold off the separate lot or sold the house without the separate lot, the discount goes away. It's gotta
Because you know when.
be all one
At the
package.
point of sale, the assessments are stated.
Yep.
With that property.
Yep.
So it's gonna state the discount. Wow.
But it also state that it has to go all together. If they're gonna split it apart.
I'm talking about a closing, what exactly was saying.
Well, they will get, because they checked with us, the title company checked.
Just a little detail.
Right, yeah, but yeah,
That's your.
right, and it's in here, it's in what's written up here is that it, if you break apart and sell part of it, the discount for this goes away. So,
But if you keep it together, the new owner gets the discount also.
Outside realtors also don't tell everything about living in here,
Yeah.
because mine do not tell me about a lot. So they don't tell you everything, unfortunately, so that's something that they would have to find out on their own.
Delinquent. I mean, is there a minimum delinquency? I mean, if you were moving or whatever, if you were doing it, you can go delinquent because the guy across the street wants to buy it. Is there a delinquency that you, then give you a little pain before you do that?
by the covenants, August 1st, you're delinquent.
Okay, so just a single year delinquency, you can get this deal.
We could put a multiple year delinquency in it. I mean,
It's
before the
not
county,
considered.
before the county owns it, it's 6 years.
Right,
So-
and you're not gonna, the county's not gonna join, you're still paying the regular county tax and everything.
Country club not joining.
Right.
It'd solely be the POA assessment.
And it's only gonna be to those people that have an advantage of buying that property across the road and maybe for sight line. You can't do anything with it at this point
Don't want,
still, right?
don't want any neighbors across from it.
Next thing, but you can't do anything to this property.
Hey, you had your chance to buy the property next to you. And for the right price, you still can't buy it.
You still can't do anything to that property. Can't improve it at this point. Can't put a driveway there, you can't put anything in there yet.
That would need to be a stipulation put in for sure.
Yeah, well, one of the things Denny and I were toying with, working on is. I'm not so certain that there's anything that specifically states you can't put a driveway on an unimproved lot. There's absolutely a stipulation that says you cannot park anything on an unimproved lot. So my thought is, why the heck would somebody put a driveway on an unimproved lot? Because you can't park anything there. Oh,
Staying on topic, would you consider a one-time purchase discount? That way, if the lot is sold with the house across the street, the next owner doesn't get the discount. Because then that goes back to what Nancy was saying, people that have owned those properties across the street and been paying on them for 2 years,
So it's one
One
time,
time.
property, if the property's resold, discount goes away.
And then would that kind of make it fair to those that have been doing that for as long as they've owned the property? So it'd be a one-time discount.
Because the purpose is they were owned by the county or delinquent. So once it's bought up and then paid for, no longer is it one of those conditions.
Right.
That's your point.
Yes.
Are past assessments gonna be forgiven?
Nope.
So if you buy that property, you also gotta pay the assessments to here.
If it's not current, if the county owns it, then
Or get it quickly.
if the county owns it, you're,
Whatever.
you won't get it quite a while. I mean, those are taken, from what I hear, several
2
years.
You know, what's gonna entice somebody to do this? I think about it, what's really gonna entice anybody to do this?
I don't know, we're just following up on what was submitted to us, so. You know, I mean, if you know, if you want the properties that are across the street from you. You know, maybe you do it if you could pay some less assessment dollars, but. I don't know.
It has to be the property directly across the street from you. I mean, what about,
Well, it's got to be, it has to, yes, I'm gonna say, now, why the properties might not line up, boundary line to boundary line. The property you're getting at least has to, the boundary line has to overlap the property that you have across the street. So it can't be that, you know, as an example, you can't buy my property.
yeah,
You can't buy my property down the street from you, you know, a mile and, well, it's across the street from my house. Well,
I think it's opening up a good can of worms for lots of headaches.
I think it is too.
My head's hurting right now. I mean, to keep track of this, I mean, to keep track of, period.
But 500 lots worth of revenue. Some
yeah, I
revenue.
mean, part of it is, it was you know, it was an idea to essentially get money in here. So you're, you know, you're getting 53% more than the nothing we get today.
Why don't we do something like a car wash? We just have lot sale and we could go. And we give out those numbers. Go check
All right.
out the lot.
Any other questions?
You be out there.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
other questions on this one? If you want to send it to Ted, yes or no?
I don't.
Table it. All right. Two are going to Ted, one's taken. All right, got one more new ballot item. Denny submitted this, which is to put another roads assessment, onto the ballot, and it would be a special assessment effective for 2025, $250 per year per property owner. It's designated to road improvements only. The 250 would be done for 3 years, 25, 26, and 27. Beginning in 28 would decrease to $100 per property yearly, and that stays in place until it's further voted on to increase, decrease, or eliminate for the covenants. You know, I'll add that, you know, we tried last year, and, you know, the data that we were given from Vernon Jones is you're looking at roughly somewhere between $230,000 and $245,000 per mile, straight shot to strip and repave a road. Doesn't touch the base is gonna cost you more money. So, you know, if this assessment, I think, is estimated that if people pay it, we get $500,000 to $600,000 a year. You know, you're gonna get, if the base is good, or the road you choose to go into, you get 2 miles of road a year.
Well, you're adding that into what we already have.
No,
I didn't consider that, you know.
Yeah.
Just based on this alone, it'd be $500,000 to $600,000 per year for 3 years. That'd be about $1.5 to $1.8 million. And that can get a lot of roads done. And some of the roads aren't very long either. Maybe just a couple hundred feet or something.
Can I say something?
I talked to you earlier about that, about special assessments, you know, we don't need a special assessment due in June. You know, 3 months before, 3 months after, we don't do it in June.
Well, we've got it set up here for January of each
Yeah,
year.
that would be fine. Yeah.
And it gives you,
Stay away from June.
in a special assessment, gives you 90 days to pay.
Oh, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
So, I mean, that's in the covenants.
That's good.
I think, I mean, going forward, I know that there's a lot of people play about the roads, but if we have some kind of plan, people don't wanna see you just saying, we're gonna fix the roads. Well, what roads? If we have sort of a tentative plan or a tentative area,
Actually, Tilly, we do.
okay.
We developed a plan 2 years ago. And unfortunately, we only had the money to do about a couple hundred feet of road.
Yeah,
to-
if I remember right, those weren't full roads either.
No, it was patch up jobs.
Right.
And, but we've got a list of about 30 places, and I'll tell you, the worst ones are places like, Forest Drive. Now, that's a long road over there, but it was a nightmare. We've been patching that up for years. It looks like.
Which was, that one I know from when we had Vernon Jones out here with us. If you don't address the base of that road,
Yeah,
you're
we've
just-
we still have roads in here that they would put on dirt. There was no base put in to begin with, and that was by the developer. So we're going back 30-something years.
Would you define special? What does special mean?
Well,
What
there's a
makes it
provision,
special?
there's a provision in the covenants called special assessment. So it's over and above the assessment that you already made.
And that's the only qualifier of it?
And there's a timeline, of course, it's, you know, this is gonna be for 3 years or 5 years. or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
And
temporary.
depending on what the ballot item is, like last year, we wrote in specifically that money could only be used for this particular thing. Board has no authority to spend it any other way. Denny wrote that into this one as well.
It's part of 3G, which is part of your covenants, so special assessment. It spelled it out in there, what we have to do.
Okay, including, like you said, 90 days to pay, is that part of
Yes,
special?
it's part of the special assessment, yes.
Can you read it one more time?
The whole thing or just the essence of the.
No,
It's 200, effective January 2025, special assessment 250 per year. For each property owned will be addressed, assessed and designated for roads improvement only. This 250 per year special assessment will be annually for 3 years, 25, 26, 27. Beginning in 28, it will decrease to 100 per year per property. And it will stay at that level until the membership votes to increase, decrease, or eliminate it. And I think, I think then you're saying we'll do the same thing, that if you have a legally adjoined, you're just getting it once, not
That's
for that
correct.
property.
Yeah. For the sake of the special assessment, if you got it in my lot, it's just one,
Assessment.
just one assessment.
Why wouldn't you after the 3 years call for another vote instead of committing yourself to 100 and then going for a vote? Why can't you revote after the 3 years to find out where you're at? You're making headway, you're not making headway. 250 is not enough, you gotta go 350 or something.
The covenant 3G does allow for that to happen. But I'm not so sure we have to put it in there again.
Yeah, the covenant itself allows us to vote to, again, to raise it, decrease it, suspend it.
But I didn't want to make
But
this,
But
I'm
yeah,
saying, this is why you're already saying that you're gonna decrease it at this point down to 100, everybody's gonna expect that.
well, if you don't have anything in there and it goes to vote, and like what typically happens here, it's voted no. Now you lost, now we're back to where we're sitting today with,
I didn't
a
want,
few miles of roads done.
I didn't want to make this a thing that's for perpetuity.
Correct.
You know, I don't think it needs to go on forever and ever, just, let's get something started here to get something done. We're 3 or 4 years behind on some of these roads right now. I think we need to kickstart this thing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely something needs to be done because, there's, Denny, you had said in the, last meeting, it's like, you think that to really properly address and move through the roads in a reasonable time frame, we need $2 million a year for the roads. This is gonna get us that money over 3 years' time, not per year. And the other part is, Bernie Jones said a road's lifetime is somewhere between 15 and 20 years. So the roads are in perpetuity. They're never going to stop needing maintenance. And if you don't maintenance the new road that goes in, like at the seam for the 2 lanes, it'll start falling apart at the seam. The biggest unknown we have, which Vernon Jones said, they could come in and core all the roads, which you're gonna spend, a year, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they can tell you what the base is where they core it. Other than that, they gotta strip the road off, then they see the base, and then they can tell you whether, can they salvage the base? Does the base need nothing, or do you need to replace the base? And, we know from going around with them, most of the roads that, the base needs to be addressed. When you see the side of the road falling off, he told us the side of the road's falling off because when they put the base in for the road, if there even is one, the base doesn't go wide enough past the road, so the edge of the road has nothing to sit on. So when the asphalt's elastic in its nature, so when the asphalt shifts and moves, and it should come back to where it's supposed to be if you have a base under it. If you don't have a base at the edge, then it falls off and starts to break off. So, this is a step in the right direction. It's not it's not the golden goose to fix the roads, but it's better than where we sit today. So,
How did it compare with the last assessment?
the last one we went in, I think at 700 or 750 for 3 years. And then it dropped to 250, I believe. But even with those dollars, not counting the bases, you were looking at 13 years to get through the roads here.
Right.
And the bases, again, I'm gonna go back after him to see if he'll give me an estimate. Okay, I know that you're not giving me a quote, but give me an idea. If you can recompact and put new material on top of the base, what's it cost per mile? If you need to tear the whole base out and redo it, what's it cost a mile? So at least we have some additional, but
I just want it, I want it to pass so badly. I don't want it to look like the last one failed.
Yep. Well, there was also talk too that, they want to put an all-encompassing one that covers everything. So, to cover everything would, even though the stickers don't go away, the cost would. Even though, your construction deposits don't go away, the money that's kept, does. So, the all-in one, it's gonna be a staggering number, but we're still waiting for some bids to come in. We need more information on roads, lakes, security. So hopefully we're starting to get that in, but I think it's well, Denny said it's a good intermediary step for us to get somewhere.
I think we can do a better job promoting it and not having 2 options like we did.
The 2 options.
I think,
right?
yeah, having the 2
That
options
was-
and Denny, if you have the worst of the worst roads, I mean, if we communicate that to people.
Well, I'm more than, you gotta be careful with this stuff. Because we have to start doing the roads and the road has to be done. Because when you patchwork the road, now you put another seam in the road that's gonna fail. When we patchwork Shiloh, it's falling apart already. When they patchwork the bridge at Lincoln, there's a hole that went all the way through to the water below it. Tom's guys went back and fixed it after it was done twice. 2 years in a row, so you gotta look at full roads, but when you strip the road off. And they tell you gotta replace the base, we need to have the money to replace the base, otherwise you just spent, $200,000+ to put a road down that isn't gonna last. And much shorter than the useful lifespan, you're gonna spend the money to re-put the road down again, so. If we're gonna do this, we gotta do them right, so that they last the 15 to 20 years. And that's. So if we get, and the other thing is, there aren't many vendors. You and I both worked in this, and you did a lot longer. There aren't many vendors that are willing to come in here for a $250,000 job.
No, they're looking at the multi-million.
They want to come in here, you need to be throwing them $1 million to get them to come in here, and not do a patchwork job, so. From it, so, I agree 100%, put a roads assessment on there. I'm not so sure the dollars are enough, but maybe it passes and it gives us something to work with to go forward, so. All right, send to Ted. Yes. Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
So once we get it back from Ted, can we?
Well,
There's some,
Well, I think
show
once-
us what you want to say, then put it out there.
Yeah, I think
Sure.
once we get them back from Ted, we have to then do the formal vote. It's on the ballot. Once that happens, we can start communicating the stuff electronically, put it on the website. And then we'll still have to do the election newsletter at the beginning of August.
Right.
But at least we can start communicating these, and we may have multiple assessment ballot items on here, so we're gonna have to figure out once we get it all set, because if they wanna put an all-in one on it, the all-in one goes in, it overrides the other ones. From it, if it passes, we have the ballot item, which is the new owner assessment. I think if, as an example, if the all-in one fails and the new owner one passes and the roads pass, those two happen. We may want to do a security one again. We may want to, we were talking earlier today, depending what Thursday's meeting comes back with, do we need a Lakes and Beaches one? But I think because you only do the election one time a year, or it costs you an arm and a leg, you can't just hit them with one, because otherwise it's a whole nother year before. And even right now, it's February. That assessment won't bill and be due until January of 25. So we got to collect the money before you can do the work then too.
Right.
Yes, Linda.
When Mike and I attended the roads committee meetings a few times last year, one of the things that we talked about was what I think Tilly just said a moment ago. I would recommend that better education about what something costs, because if you tell me, like you just said, it costs $250,000, I'm clueless on what that really means for a road. If you tell me this spot right here that we repaired last year costs $250,000, oh my gosh, are you kidding? It took, I would need something like that. This amount of space with the work that needs to be done costs this much money for me to go.
We could do that. We can, Shiloh is, a half a mile.
Right,
It's,
just something that people can relate to, that understands, I
it's
can go look at that, and you're telling me it's gonna cost that much to do this, that, and the other, for sure, we need more money.
Yep. What I want to steer clear of, to be honest with everybody, is I don't want a 10-year project plan of this street here, because if, depending what it costs to do the base, if they get into it and you put this plan out now and the bases need to be replaced, well, you may get half or a quarter as much as you thought you were gonna get to. And, people will then start voting, well, my street's in the first 3 years, I'll vote for this.
I don't mean that, I
My,
didn't mean that.
my street's 10 years down the road, I'm not voting for this.
I just meant some sense of what something costs, whereas I am totally clueless about what.
We could measure a couple streets off,
And it would need to be communicated this way. It's an
Although
example.
this time, Betty, I'm driving, you're hanging out the window.
I'm not getting seasick doing that.
All right, I think that's everything on the ballot items for this time. I will just want to reiterate to everybody, we're not doing this one and done big push of ballot items this year. Something that's in the bylaws or covenants that you want added, changed, deleted, get them submitted as we go. I think we're gonna start rolling. The first one is already with Ted. These ones will get to Ted in the next week or so, and then we'll go on from there. All right, on to treasurer's report. All right, the financial package is in the lobby and it will be added to the website as well. Just the highlights of them for the month. We've got the two checking type accounts have $145,000 just for the end of January and $350,000. The security special assessment has $30,471, or lake dredging has $17,769. We do have a money market account or reserves, which is $105,000. And we got 278 in the ICF fund. And those are restricted use accounts. These cash on hands, if you think we got money here and we could do, well, that's gotta last until the assessment money starts coming in July. So we've got a few months to go through. The other thing is there was not a full roads project done last year. We said that we weren't gonna do it if the assessment didn't pass, and it didn't. So some of that money is that we have a $200,000 roads bill. We only collected $2,675 in assessment payments. In January, the city fee was $38.54. We do have a big milestone that happened in that the first phase and element of Rever went live in February with the bill payment. So the bills are now being paid through City and Village, which is part of our package with them. And they're moving and being approved through Rever.
Who's running River right now?
Pretty much me, Karen's still the technical support behind it. At the end of January, there were 280 delinquent owners totaling $228,000 in money owed to Raintree. We already did the lien, so the next step is we are going to be working on some court judgments for the owners. We're gonna ask I think you already did ask the office staff to call the 280 owners. This is our last attempt to collect you. If you don't pay, the next thing you're gonna hear is probably gonna be served from the court. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go through small claims court because the attorney fees were too outrageous to do it, and he's got a conflict of interest, so we can't even. We can't even.
File 6 a year.
We
small
can't
claims,
even
so that's
twist
not gonna
the
work.
wire. Yeah,
It's only 6 a year.
You can only file 6 as a.
6 a year.
That's why it's small
Oh,
claims.
I didn't know there was a limit.
There is.
I thought it was a dollar limit. All right.
Well, there is a dollar limit, but there's also a number for that very reason. But, you know, we gotta protect ourselves.
Yeah. On it.
So who represents us in court? Is it our attorney?
At the moment, no.
Would it be one of
The city's attorney.
Oh, okay.
But the problem with going through that is that it's no longer based upon once they collect the money, you need to pay them their hourly rate up front. And most of these company clients or owners that owe, 2-3 years assessments, it's less than $1,000. If we aren't successful in collecting the judgment, we will have paid, good money after chasing the bad one. So.
They changed it to 12.
12,
Yeah.
Okay. We go after the 12 biggest ones first.
I'm wondering what 5 grand or whatever. Civil war.
hoping that, we just had a meeting with the web admin, so we had to do some tweaks again within Rever, but by the end of this month, our target is that, you'll be able to fill out your, boat, car, gate, not gate car, the boat, motorized boat, vehicle, hang tag and golf cart form online, upload your forms. They'll email you back, it's ready, come in, pay and pick it up.
So the office is officially using River now too?
Not, we haven't trained them yet on that, because the form isn't there. Tammy's been trained to do the bill pay.
How long is Karen planning on being on it? Because with her not being on the board, I feel a little off about her having information of Raintree residents.
It'll be there as long as it takes to get it done, because otherwise we gotta start over again and somebody's gotta start from scratch to get trained on it.
Eventually, people are gonna have an issue with that.
I mean, Lori Holland gives us support for bookkeeping and she's got the access to QuickBooks too, so.
So does that mean she's also letting the office staff have their way of touching it now? Because I know she was also being a little off about it. And not wanting people to mess with Rever until she had done whatever she needed to do with it.
Well, we've got to load the information in that we get from city and village to QuickBooks before you can run the financial reports.
Has River been put in the newsletters and everything to let everybody know that they're gonna be switching over to that yet?
About Rever? No, not yet. No, because we just.
We will once we,
The bill pay and stuff like that, I mean, the bill pay is like what we pay our bills. It's not, has nothing to do with the property owner at this point. We're not at that point.
I'm just wondering if it's gonna be confusing for when it comes out, and people can get their car stickers or fill out the information for that, if it's gonna be confusing for people that don't. know how to
Well,
use
we're
it as
hoping to
much.
get that on, like right now, we don't have anything. You cannot do it right now. You can't do the boat stickers, but as soon as we get that to that point, yes, we will be sending out.
Because he said at the end of the month, that's why I was that's like kind of
Well,
really close.
Yeah,
well, everybody, I guarantee everybody won't use it anyway. You know, it'll be a quicker,
I
easier
was just
way.
wondering if there's gonna be like another way to still like go to the office about it, or if it was just gonna be like a quick.
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah,
we get it going, we might hold some evening or Saturday. Hey, you know what, come on in here, we'll show it to you if you're not comfortable with
Okay.
it, but you could still go in.
yeah, I think we're still gonna give the option that like, I don't, I don't do this, I'm coming in and they just bring them stuff.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I
we're
just
not gonna
wondered
cut
if
it
was gonna be just a quick switch. to-
No,
Anything
no,
on
no,
the
no.
computer, use the computer sometimes, that can save you some time, if not.
Cause I know the original talks of using Rever was to be completely switched over to it, so I wasn't sure if that's what we were gonna start doing right away, right now.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're not
it's
there
a-
yet.
Any system, it's a migration. It's not, you know, boom, it's on and you're done.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think step one was the bills, and then now we're trying to give property owners access to be able to fill out forms prior to coming up.
Right,
And then the next step would be hopefully to get them to be able to pay for it, and they just come in and get it, and just come in, oh, I'm coming to get my stickers, and they just, the office looks them up, oh, yep, you're paid, here you go.
all right,
so will the people who are adminning the Rever account be letting the office know like who's good to get their stickers once it's up and running, or will they get the email from Rever themselves?
they'll get it direct out of Rever, and they already have, it noted as to who's paid and good to get them and who isn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case there's any kind of miscommunication with technology as it is.
Yeah,
Yep, there shouldn't be.
that's
All
all.
right, the other big thing here is in your packet, is the form that looks like this. This is the budget. So the budget was built off of last year's actuals with known adjustments that we put in. Into it, like, we had some implementation fees last year, we took it out, we put the updated rates for the What isn't the right lane? This one only goes to June, so it's cut off some of the. Alright, I'll have to get you. A full one, it doesn't have, this doesn't have the full budget in it, because it only goes out through June. Gotta go through December, but. I have the full budget here. Here are the categories that are not last year's run rate. The assessment income was increased 5%. There's something with the censures that the P&L from last year says there were $8,325 billed. The program that runs the says there were $2,100, so that might have been what was billed versus what was collected. We adjusted a couple items that were not the full year, so we put the full year in there. Yeah, like one is the telephone, that expense was greatly reduced last year, so we put the new run rate in. The newsletter, we had multiple newsletters last year, we only had one this year. We did increase salaries and wages on it, just as a contingency. That up some of the taxes. One thing I still need to dig into is there's a negative $12,000 in legal that I gotta figure out what that is yet. And what else we just, one question I threw out there, I know Kent's not here with Lakes and Beaches, but we spent almost $8,000 on porta potties last year. Do we need all these porta potties, or should we look at another vendor? Seems like a lot of money for porta potties. I increased the lake treatment 5%. We know that's not gonna cover it. Kent also gave me an item for grass carts that I put in here. And
Just out of curiosity, how many porta potties do you use?
So that porta potty, because of the one that was blown up or whatever, that wasn't included in that?
Yeah,
A lot then.
no.
That's what we saw in our-
So how many? 5 porta potties?
All at the beach. There's one at the pavilion, 2 at the beach, 1 at the boat ramp, and 1 at the Spring Lake boat ramp.
Is there 2 or 3? There's 2.
It could be 6. But it's something to look at from it. All right, on the the form you have doesn't have the assessment revenue on it because it's in a different month. However, when I met with Steve with the full-on report earlier, the way the accounting system works is it takes your assessment revenue that you bill. And that doesn't change. Then you have to compare it to what your accounts receivable is. That's your uncollected amount. So our accounts receivable is $228,000, but that's from 2016 forward. Last year we had about $50,000 of what I can track directly to unpaid assessments from last year alone. But the disturbing thing is the last 3 years, it's gone up $10,000 from one year to the next, and then it went up $18,000. So it could be any number of things that play there. So we had set the revenue number at $700,000 for assessments. That gives us all in, based on last year's run rates, $985,000 of spend, and the budget has in it $715,000 of spend. Although I did mention to Steve, Tom, since you're here, I'll let you know, I don't think the salt number is right. I think it's slightly too low.
We looked at this right here.
Yep.
And we'll see your answer right here.
This one's run the wrong period of time, doesn't have a whole bunch of it. Can't use that one.
Did we buy sand after January first?
Yes, we got it.
Okay, we bought more sand.
But one note is, the salt is first in July,
Okay,
if that makes any difference.
okay. We were just wondering, because I know we bought $6,000, $7,000 worth of salt, sand, whatever, before January first, and then we're looking at this, and it looks like this year we've already spent $1,100.
All right.
Well,
So
roughly about 400.
we need to take a
Sand's
look,
cheap.
we need to take, well, the salt too, we need to take a look at the budget number, because it's only got roughly $7,000 in it, and I know if I go back a year prior, it was $18,000 spent, so we.
Because we only had about half the month.
Right, so I don't know if we only need to hit by half as much again, or if we're gonna need.
We'll see.
Yep, so, I'd rather budget the money. And if we don't have to spend it, we don't spend it, and not have it. All right, where this leaves us at is, there is $270,000 of unallocated money. And where that money is targeted to go is we're gonna hold about 70,000 of it back for whatever, maintenance might be able to help us out with the road. Is there a catastrophic road failure we need to fix on it? Then the other 200, we're gonna look to fix some ongoing sore spots, security, spring lake treatment. We'll find out more Thursday night about where that might head. Stop some of the silt from getting into these lakes, as well as beginning to look at some dredging. So those line up to the other priority items from a strategic survey. Where we sit today, we don't have enough money to do anything meaningful to the roads.
And that's why a lot of elsewhere.
Yep, so it's
Okay.
like, okay, then that, what we talked about is, you know what, if you can't do number one, what can you do about number two, number three, and number four? So that's what this lines up to. So we really, really desperately need the bids for, from lakes and beaches, for dredging. We probably ACC need your help with vendors for the silt prevention. Because otherwise, if we don't stop the silt from getting in the lake, you're gonna have a dredging issue come up over and over again. Maybe this guy Thursday night's got some magic help with that. And the stuff with security, we can't do anything without the bids. From there, and I will get another report printed with the right time period and attempt to email it to all of you. So that is the budget. The last thing here is the monthly check report. And anybody has any questions on it, I'll answer them, but once I look at and sign all the checks, it all looks the same to me. So if anybody has any questions.
What's traffic control?
Traffic control?
Company that makes the sign.
Oh.
But say it's the company that makes the road sign. I think the last one was vandalism issue.
Thanks.
All right. We need we'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Is there a second? Any opposed? Passes. Next is communications.
Okay, basically, the average, communications with the notices going out about, meetings and agendas and the roundup and, the controlled burn, POA board summaries, but we've been working very hard, trying to update the website, adding icons so that we can upload meetings and recordings, so what we've been working with Nikki is that, if you look on the, webpage, she, in the committees overview, if you get it on the homepage and you hit committees, she started with Lakes and Beaches because Lakes and Beaches had a meeting already. What I asked for the board members to do is if you get on and you look at your committees, if it's updated with the right people on there, let me know. If we need to take people off, let me know that. If you don't have anybody and you want to reach out, let me know that, because I can do that. But they added an icon, she added an icon that says committee updates. And so what she's gonna do with all the committees is have that icon so that you can, like ACC, you have your minutes and stuff like that. You may not need that except for your report that you do here, you can upload that. If you also record your meeting, we can upload it there. So she's going to put that so it's all in one place. She did do another thing with like the board meeting at the homepage, which I think it's going to be easier friendly, user friendly, is that you go to board meetings and she has it listed like, okay, the February board meeting, the Raintree board meeting agenda, we post that. And then, so the recording will be next, and any summary or anything like that we'll put on there. So you be able to just go right to the homepage, board meeting, click on the board meeting you want to hear, and it's right there. So it's just a little more easier to find stuff for those of us that are not very techy.
Tilly, we don't show incident reports on there, do we?
What incident, no,
Well, that would be something we might want to do.
okay,
Because that way we'd be keeping track of it at that point. We got 3 incident reports in next, this week, and they were distributed to me and whatever.
yeah. Well, like I said, I will do whatever, give me the information and I'll do whatever you need me to do. Yeah, incident reports, I'll write a little note on that.
So I recommend we find out what Nikki, the web admin, can pull and do the report for us.
Oh, yeah, she might be able to do that just because
It's all there.
So, all right, so with an incident report, okay, you all see it and. Okay, where are we on the response part? Are we just, should we say, got it, and that's it? And because you can't really discuss a lot of things. Because, but as a homeowner or a property owner, like.
You want to know we got it and we're on it.
Hey, yeah, if we just say that, and I know that there's been argument that you get a 3 AM, something's going on and stuff, you're not gonna answer it right then and there, but. You know, I don't know, what do you all think?
The rules aspect, I usually just email them or give them a call, let them know.
It's just, you just want to let them know, I got your communication.
So we as a board, if we see that we get an incident report and it regards to your expertise, we're gonna assume, hey, it's been taken care of, that's
Other
just
than just the ones where people are saying that the
gates
gate's
down,
down.
yeah, other than the gate, yeah, I get the gate. I mean, is that right?
You will get some incident reports where people just randomly make complaints about things where there is no way to contact them, so what about those?
Like, what do you mean, so they don't do it online?
They put bogus information in the thing about the phone number or the
Or
email.
a company in Festus that
What?
doesn't know who you're talking about.
They do, really?
Yeah,
I mean,
people are having fun during the summer.
we went through this with Lester.
Yeah.
right? When we get something in, other than this, okay, the gate's down, is, it's just plain old communication, common courtesy, respond back, we got it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Thanks for the inquiry.
Thanks for the inquiry, you know, like you get the communication, if somebody wants to speak at the board meeting, you respond to them. I got you scheduled, we're good to go. You know, if it's something pertaining to security, you know, if it's something pertaining to rules, you know, you know, we can't just keep rolling with, we assume somebody handled it. Somebody needs to step up, because the incident reports we all get should be getting copied on them when they come through. Just respond back. You know what? I got it.
I assume I was
covered.
getting those from Wendy.
Or I don't.
You thought you were getting them from Wendy?
Well, when we get incident reports.
If it's usually a
sends them
vote
out?
thing, I think everybody needs to know.
The website,
Kind of auto-generated from
Yeah,
the
from the
form,
website.
right?
website kicks it off
Okay,
when they put it in. Yep.
so it goes to everybody?
So if it comes in from an incident report, you know, just respond back. Hey, I got this in, or I don't know what to do. You know, help me. That way we know, and that you cut at minimum touch base with the person. I got it. You know what? If it's bogus information, then we can't get back to it. There's nothing we can do.
May able to check now.
Hmm?
You may able to check now for incident reports.
Hey, we're not on video, so.
So remind you to do it.
All right, so, we're working on that, let's see, I just want to encourage everyone to, sign up for the website newsletters, raintreepoa.net. Our MailChimp letters are only being opened approximately 57% of the time. We added 3 new contacts, which woohoo, we're glad about that. And just a reminder, if you have a ballot item to be discussed, you can email us at communications@raintreepoa.net by April 30th. Just copy and paste the current bylaw or covenant wording in the email, highlight or any deletion, or type in your suggestion for the change, and type why you want to see that changed. The events oversight, because this is going to start getting busy. If you're planning to use Raintree POA Common Ground for an event, please contact the Events Oversight Committee at events@raintreepoa.net and fill out the form. There's a form, you can go online and fill that. Thank you for doing that. And then just a reminder, we had an incident with property owner mistreating the staff again, you know, very belligerent and disrespectful, and we don't tolerate that. So please, they're doing the best you can. And
With summertime coming up, they get nice and feisty, so with that being said, as long as there's video camera footage of it, you guys pretty much will be not allowed to use the privilege of coming into the office to deal with them.
yeah, that's just not acceptable. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's all.
Your tolerance policy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tilly. Next is your admin report.
Oh, okay, the Rever AP, accounts payable training has started, and Tammy's working on that. Updating the records to reflect the city and village, coordination there. They've, started selling stickers for 2024 boat cars and, golf carts. And, they've been assisting board members with, things that they need and stuff like that. Appreciate all that they do.
All right, Dave did not give us anything for legal. I'm not aware of anything going on open with legal at the time, so ACC.
We're just basically processing the stuff that's coming in. It's pretty slow right now. It's winter, just replacement and stuff, and they broke the ground on that new house and gotten one.
As the treasurer, I got a request for you guys to consider with ACC. We had an incident go on where project got approved and we did not have the right deposits on hand. You don't approve any project until you have all the checks properly made out in hand.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I didn't know that we weren't getting that up front.
So,
I assume once it came to us, I had those boxes been checked.
so as long as that's happening, great. So
I don't know any different.
the checks are part of the approval. Cool, thanks.
I mean, that stuff isn't coming to us until that's all taken care of, right?
Whenever it gets approved and I let the people know, or they're here and they know, put them to hand me a check right at the meeting. You've seen them do that?
Right.
Bring me a check. Otherwise, I call them and tell them they were approved, and then they come in and pay.
Okay.
And that's when the inspector gets their permit.
Then we want to change that.
Yeah,
Nothing goes to ACC to approve without the proper checks in hand. So that way, if they give the approval, there's no, the contractor sitting there the next morning at 7 o'clock rolling and we're chasing them down with the checks after the fact, so that they have to pay it when they submit for ACC to consider.
Yes, let's,
Okay.
that will
I would
take.
tell them to
that
just
will
hold
look-
the page,
Yeah.
you just hold the check until it's approved or not.
Do, I have one right now. I just hold on to it till it's approved.
Okay, beautiful. I'll go through Kent's Lake and Beaches report. We had our first committee meeting on the 29th. You know, the meeting was really focused on developing long-term comprehensive plan for the lake health, including the water quality and depth, fish numbers and quality. If anybody's interested in it, the audio of that meeting is on the website now. There was a Lakes and Beaches survey that went out, low participation in it. But it really, the objective was to validate some interest from the community in different areas around lakes and beaches. There was a meeting with the Missouri Department of Conservation on February 13th. Very high level discussion around water quality, depth, aquatic vegetation, and fish life. A lot of work to be done and further discussion there. Just so everybody's aware, Thursday night is the meeting with a new vendor, Clean Flow. It is, to clarify, the meeting is at 7 p.m., not 6 p.m. Some committee members have already begun talking to vendors around dredging and fish stocking possibilities. And Lakes and Beaches is going to move to a scheduled monthly meeting the first Monday of each month. Tilly covered the events oversight.
I do have one question I want to say. These reports that y'all submit and stuff like that, are those sent to Wendy? And Wendy, do you type these up, or, I mean, are these? Because I'm wondering how, because what's going to happen in the future is like these reports here that we have will go on the website. And we're gonna download.
A spot to put them, I can put them.
So you're getting it electronically? You're getting them in?
No, I have, the only one I have right now is the Lake and Beach report from last month. It's been sitting on my desk waiting for there to be an icon to put it under.
Okay.
It's not there yet. So I will put this Lake and Beach with it. So if I don't have it, all I have to do is scan it and I can put it on.
Oh, you can scan them, so, okay, so it doesn't have to be an electrical to you or me, so we get it on the website, you can scan it and it goes on, okay.
I just have to place to put it.
Okay, well, she put the Lakes and Beaches, she does have Lakes and Beaches, an icon, but all the other committees, she hasn't got that yet, because she wanted us to look at it and see if it's something we want to do it that way, so, okay.
What time will be the monthly Lake and Beach meeting? What time is that?
He didn't say.
I think he said, I think they're at 6 o'clock the first Monday of the
Most of the day.
But you're not sure.
Not sure.
Not positive, but I think it's 6 p.m. All right, maintenance.
Well, snow and ice. Tom, thank you. Guys did a great job so far this year.
Yep.
You're ready to go for the next shot, Tom, if it comes. You put new LED lights at the entrances.
We had, 3 more that needed to be changed over to LED and now they're all LED. They were all bad. They were all little down.
Okay. And once again, please stay off the street when winter is coming and when you get snow. That's really important. If anybody has any issues, please put in a work order. you say this all the time, and sometimes people do an incident report on it. But a work order is the way it needs, is the process that needs to be used. The work order, then when it's generated, it goes to Tom and I'll see it, and you know, we have to react or not react or whatever to it, but. You know, if we can get some work orders built up, that means we get some ideas of what we're gonna be doing, looking at this year.
Well, it's a paper trail.
Yeah, it's
It's good for everybody.
yeah. So, you know, I've used it before, it worked for me. I've talked to several different people, said it worked for them, so if you got an issue, just put out a work order.
It's Friday was the worst I've ever seen it for. Vehicles parked on the roads. There was some roads you could barely get down.
Really?
So I'm just noting that. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying. It was bad.
Don't do
Can we issue censures?
Unless they're sent to me, there's nothing I can do. That was sent out.
You're slowing down the road, you're not.
I mean, there's something in the rules or.
Oh, there
or
is.
there's something. in the
Oh, yeah,
rules?
you're not supposed to be parked on the road, especially during inclement weather. Yeah. That's findable.
Maybe we gotta put that in communication.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to start.
It's put in every year, people still do it.
It's been there a couple times already. So, we'll get
I thought there was.
them.
Inclement
weather.
Got one.
You got one going this month?
Hey, Tom, I mean, safety utmost importance. Is there even, you know, I mean, is it something that you and the guys can say, you know, it was Gettysburg, you know, or it would just give us the street, we go down the street.
Oh, if
you
you
know,
want to take time, we could make a list of
Yeah.
addresses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
definitely a street and the addresses.
you know, if you can, I mean, obviously you gotta get the job done, you need to be safe, I don't want you, you know. But if there's, you know, if there's anything you can give us, we certainly can go back and.
Maybe at the end of the
Yeah.
shift, your guys are going around at the end of the shift, they see something, you can mark it down and give it to you at the end of the shift.
Or if you know that, and if you guys are going through, maybe the storm isn't the right time. But if you know that, hey, you know, this is parked alongside the street always, then we can even go back to those people, and maybe I can't censure them, but you know what? Next time there's a weather event, if that's there, we're calling the tow company to pull it out of here, and you're gonna get fined. You know, if you're gonna park it there, you need to move it, you know, and heed the warnings that we send out. You know, but
I'm not sure exactly what, it was like Super Bowl Sunday, I plowed snow on Super Bowl Sunday. And it was seemed like this Friday. So bad.
Everybody's guess was parking.
I think we should do is put something up on the news board at the gates too.
oh, get your cars up, get your cars
We
up.
could do that during the winter too,
Yeah,
because we don't post as much.
yeah.
Stuff, put a,
about
you know.
electronic
the
board up
winter
there?
months.
People would
On the
read
street.
something electronic instead of just the
No,
old school paper.
yeah, it would be nice to have just a
bit.
little, it's a bit we could put that as part of the security and stuff like that.
That's right.
The company they got it from's.
That would be awesome if you could have one of those.
At least a digital sign would tell people what we're thinking is really important today.
Yeah.
Do not park on the roads, guys.
I thought we just put John out there with a sign, give him some wiggle arms.
I second.
I think better than a snowstorm will put you in a security golf cart and you can go right up on the sensors around everybody parked on this.
Okay, that's going too far.
All right, roads, nothing to report, you know, again, all I can say is. If the roads are a concern to you and you don't want them to degrade further, please be vocal as you can in this community. That you gotta vote for the assessment. All right, rules.
Rules is actually pretty short and sweet just because it's a winter month. Like I said, we did end up censuring somebody for parking on the street during inclement weather. There was also censure sent out for a dog running loose. And that was pretty much the events of rules for the month. But there is a rules meeting next Thursday. I can't remember if it's at 6 or 6:30. Wendy should have it, because I forgot. But it's around one of those times.
I think it's 6.
Next
I think it's
Thursday, the
6.
29th.
Yeah. I think it's 6.
What's the February 29th?
You need to touch base with me before that meeting, so it gets recorded.
ATC doesn't have to record their meetings.
They're gonna.
They're in emails right now. I can do an email.
Yeah.
You got the whole thing? The whole email chain? I do not like recordings.
And I'll come and do it for you this meeting, but then you gotta do it yourself going forward.
What if I'm not tech savvy? Just do it all the time.
All you have to do is put start and stop.
My co-chairs.
All right,
Sounds like a co-chair.
security, anything further?
Nothing further except a reminder, and that's just to be respectful when the gate's being repaired. And do not initiate a gate activity. You know, someone got hit in the head while repairing the gate, and that's just not very friendly.
No.
So just be smart about it if they're repairing it. Hang out for a while.
Well, and when you're putting signs up, people are rude. And almost run you over when you're opening up and putting the little sign
They
in
put it
the,
in the same message.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, I'm like, are you kidding me?
We get the orange cones and just block the street and make them wait until.
There you go. Wanna be rude? I
Well, to
can
be
be
safe, sure. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, 2 of their.
All right. Anybody else have anything on the board?
Absolutely.
All right, motion to adjourn. So second. Forrest and Desiree. Adjourned, 8:43 PM, 42 PM. All right, open forum. Wow, if I had 3D glasses on, you'd be right at the end of the table. All right. Nancy.
I just, my name is Nancy Gow, and I live in West. And, all I have is a comment. I have a story. I was so mad. I want to share the story. I think many of you saw on Nextdoor, a lady on Powell wrote, Saturday morning, in the wee hours of the morning, shortly before 2:45, her son's car was broken into. Yes, he did leave it unlocked. It was broken into and they took his backpack and they took his wallet. At first she said his cards or anything were not used. And then later on, after people commented, she said that she got a message from PayPal that someone had tried to download his debit card into their PayPal account, and PayPal contacted her and blocked. So she said, if anybody can help me out here, if you know of anyone, that the prints in the snow were small, so I imagine it was a kid. Other people commented, oh, these kids. School was off, the kids just go wild. Just with next door comments. Sunday morning, this happened the wee hours of the morning, Saturday morning. Sunday morning, I picked Marilyn Nelson up. She also said it was on Powell Drive. I picked Marilyn up for church Sunday morning and she says, oh my gosh, the funniest thing happened. She said, in the wee hours of the morning, Saturday morning, she said, my alarm went off, not her alarm, but her cameras, her beeped at her. And she was sleeping and she said, I ignored it. I figured a raccoon was walking past the camera or something, or a deer, which happens all the time. She says, so I just ignored it. I just looked, which is Sunday morning, and she said, there is a man, here's his car right here, it looks like a Jeep to me. She said if you backtrack it, he came down the street column, turned around, came back up, parked in front of my driveway and was walking toward our truck that's parked in the driveway. Apparently, he was alerted by the camera, which flashed red when it takes the pictures. And he turned around, went back to his car and left. I said, oh my gosh, it's gotta be the same guy. Marilyn lives just a couple doors down from this other lady. So I contacted the other lady, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know where she lived. I just knew she was from Column. I did get a hold of her finally. And Marilyn and I, after church, stopped by her house. And she had her teenage son and a couple of other teenage boys and a teenage girl in the driveway with her. And she came out to the car and talked to us and said, can I have a picture of that video? And I said, yeah, I said, the picture is blurry, but I said, the police might be able to, bring it in or something. We couldn't see a license plate or anything. And I said, people are bad mouthing the kids. This is a man. It was a man. So she says, oh, I didn't call the police.
Oh my
I
God.
said, you've got to be kidding me. And she said, what did you do? I said, first of all, if you don't care that his wallet was stolen, what about the other people on Column and in Raintree that are concerned? And the son looked at her and says, Mom, I told you to call the police. So if you look at your incident reports, my guess is she didn't report it to Raintree. My guess is she still hasn't called the police. When we left, I said, you go in right now and you call the police and you report that this was done. So you can do what you do, but what she did was she went on next door. So she's got a picture of the guy. She's got it on video from Maryland. So what's she gonna do? Without calling the police. So that's my story.
Yeah, I mean, I just put this, others will see this recording later on, is, you know what, if you feel it's imminent danger, call the sheriff. If you want the POA involved in it, it is not next door, it is not Facebook. We have on the website, or you call in, come to the office, contact the board member, but it's not social media, it's like.
Absolutely.
Nothing's gonna happen from social media, so. Yeah,
Well, we had a couple of months ago, where it was like the vigilante group are gonna take things into their hands. Call the police. Marilyn's son is a cop. My son is law enforcement, and we're both standing there. And what did the police say? Oh, I didn't call the police. What are they gonna do? Well, be sure and get it on next door. So all the neighbors can tell you.
just like when another gentleman was talking about the log, the police have logs of this stuff, man, if they could catch the Jeep, maybe they got more information somewhere else that will get it and stop it, but the other part is, if they don't report it, I'm like, the cameras that we have here, they're, I'm not trying to put them down, but they're nothing proactive. It is reactionary. Something happens, we review the footage, we snip and capture the footage if there's something that needs to be kept. But, they're not something that's proactive about it, but, I'm like, if somebody doesn't report it, there's nobody looked through the cameras for a Jeep at,
And there's been quite a few times when we felt out of situation.
Right.
I mean,
But it needs to be
they're
reported
not-
first and reported to police first.
Well,
Correct?
I mean, we can come out.
Sure.
And I'll sit there.
And then we'll look through the
video.
videos.
Right, if it was reported
what-
to the
that's what
police,
she should have
they
done.
might ask us-
It's there,
Yeah.
not, but at least.
Now, we have a,
Possibility.
And there's possibility of, if they got a picture of the person coming through the gate, maybe there is a license plate to be
Sure.
seen. I don't know. But it was not a teenager, it was a man.
By the way, kind of the same subject. Friday night, there was a power. And it knocked the cameras out. There was a gate down when I came through last night, and I put it back up. When I got time, I came in here and looked up. I came in to look it up, and the cameras were still down. So it went all the way from Friday evening, 8 o'clock, 8 and change, to Monday morning.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Because
I
nobody's
mean,
there on
more
Saturday.
reason for the, I mean,
Because
honestly,
nobody
more
was
reason
there
for the
on
block
Saturday.
camera, a separate
It was
system.
not thought.
That would be great.
Right.
So,
Good
John.
We'll have to look into that.
Well, I'm just saying. We did.
Oh, yeah.
Blocker.
It just so.
Okay, clicker.
Consider, it's gonna go. Yeah, all kinds of stuff, especially some.
But people don't know they're down, the bad guys don't know the cameras.
Well, no, but
Well, the gates are,
again, you know, something happens and then you come in there and you got.
Yeah.
You got nothing. Sat down in the chair. Okay.
Is because the cameras go down or because the hard drive goes down?
All computers shut off. Tom? They did it. Really? Yeah. Well, that was better back. Well, no. No. That. Maybe there's. Where if that happens, you know. I don't know.
We have a meeting with Flock Security.
I mean, it's just. You know, it's not fair to lie. If the alarm goes off, I'm gonna get notified.
we'll have to dig into
Take away
it.
one.
That
Well,
way.
This is about security. I got 4 things, I'll be real fast. I did bring up about the large hand during the summer. You know, if you can get one of those locks with the numbers, just give it to the cops, sheriffs, whatever you want to call them. They come in, make coffee, use the bathroom, whatever. You know, if they're there for 5 minutes, we got a cop person about it for 5 minutes. Number 2 is about 10 years ago, they looked into neighborhood watch. And the sheriff at that time said he wasn't interested. We got a new sheriff now. I don't know if it'll be doing it good. The third thing was, a number of years ago, they were also talking about taking each section and having a person in charge of each section. And when something happened in that section, they would go to that person, report to him, then he would report it to the office. You know. But you'd have to have a volunteer to do that, but at least you'd have, know something that's going on, you know, you'd have a record.
And why can't the original person report to the office?
Well,
Maybe a chain of command that everyone's
yeah,
accustomed to.
you know. I go to Best Buy, or I go to Micro Center, I'm lost. You know, if you could make some kind of recommendations as to what's a good camera, I'd buy one tomorrow. Because, you know, if we could get 30% of the homes here with cameras, and Ring cameras are good, but at my house, I'm gonna get the side of my garage. You know, I'm not gonna get my driveway.
Right.
But good cameras, if we could get 30% of the homes here with good cameras, we'd really cut back
Yeah,
on that.
we were talking about that in the little discussion in the technology group that
Yeah,
we want to be that little,
I just don't.
we want to be available to you to recommend and maybe even help you set it up.
So hopefully by next meeting, we will have a little bit of.
Oh, that's good.
There's a plan to kind of come up,
I do want to
you
get
know,
a camera.
about anything residential cameras that we connect to a neighbor side. And or there's one of the little camera that might improve things around here, we'll just bring that up.
Next week.
I want to go about that.
When we had the town hall, thanks, Joe, when we had the town hall meeting, there was a St. Louis City or county Here's the note here. He said, if we want to stop crime, we are the best and the first line defense to do it. But, you know, we have a community that lives under a premise of neighbor has to report neighbor for a claim unless there's something that happens in a camera. You know, and there are people that don't want to do it. You know, there are people that, okay, well, I know you're breaking the rules, but no skin off my back, so I'm not doing anything about it. And I think that perpetuates, you know, I don't have to follow the rules. And, you know, when you get people that don't follow the simple ones, it just grows into the big things. And, you know, from it, so I like the idea a lot of the, you know, can we leverage the neighborhood? Because we were talking with Watchtower. I asked them point blank, I said, you know what? If I give you permission to put a camera on my house, will you do it? And they're like, no, because you know what? You sell the house, you know, we can't monitor the internet at your house. We can't monitor the power at your house. So having these cameras, you know, their cameras all over the place wasn't the thing. I know my cameras, you know what, they're great in the light. As soon as it turns dark out, it'll capture what's going on, but you can't make out what, you know, you can't make out to identify a car or license plate or anything else. So they're, you know, I think some of them aren't good at night.
That's what we need.
Yep, and that's what probably need the most. So, give me 1 second. I think Jerry had her hand up over there. Let's see out the corner.
Yes, I have a comment. I would like to know, and I would like to know how it's justified that we have somebody that is in the file, in our files that are personal information that is somebody that lives in the community, and that would be with that she was on board and with that rev or whatever it is. That bothers me. I don't think that she should be involved in that.
Is he an employee?
No, she's not.
Was acting the board.
Contractor now.
So she is.
So the
being
POA
paid?
pays her. If she signed the same whatever legal document that you make Tammy as an employee, or you make Tom sign as an employee.
How long has she been paid as an employee? Because I don't remember ever hearing about that. How much is she getting paid?
That's per, yeah, don't tell them after.
That's, I wanna say, October, November.
I think we got ourselves in a bad position with Rever. It got started. And the previous boards decided to do that. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the timeline is that when they did it as a board, it was at the very busy season of the office, and they weren't able to really learn how to do everything. And so they put it off. And I think she was the training person with another board member that was learning how to do it so that they could train our office, is what I'm understanding. So with that being said, that we put it off because we wanted to make it a good transition for our office people. Well, then the election came up and she was no longer on the board, and we were in a pickle because nobody else knew how to do any of it. None of it. She was doing the workflows and making it all up. So I think that's basically, we were like, we've spent all this money, we haven't even implemented it, we got to get this going. And that's where it came from. And I think that's how it went. And we're close to getting all the Rever technology that we signed up for live, but it's been a process with.
It's also an annual payment as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the Rever software.
The software, something.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, other than what Jerry said about has she signed? that thing.
That was my-
Oh, thank you. Jerry brought that up, but we are paying already some owners that live here for the services they provide, so there's nothing different in this regard, is it?
As far as I.
Right, it's the
No.
same
The only
thing.
difference is though, is this particular owner has information that is yours
All
at
right,
home.
but let's.
No, I'm
be-
talking about the
let's-
payment.
hang on, Let me address that.
Okay,
We have nothing in that office about you unless there's a censure that isn't the public record. I can find your name, your address, your phone number, your house number, your county lot number, whether you paid your taxes or not. You know, we don't have anything in there that isn't already available publicly. So this thing about we got this super secret, you know, we don't keep people's checks, we don't keep your credit cards, you know, here, and they're not on Rever anyway. So, you know, as we're sitting here today, the only thing that's in Rever is your name, your address, your phone number, your email, your section, your lot number. Okay, now we have some bills in Rever. And we got our vendors in Rever, and next we're gonna go with, you can put your, you can fill and upload your documents to get your stickers on it. So this big super secret about Rever doesn't know whether you paid your assessment or didn't pay your assessment. And I don't know if this is legal, but if it was legal, I'd blast on our website every 280 of the owners that haven't paid. Okay, you're harming everybody by not paying, you know? If you're not
Wouldn't
gonna
that be
pay,
public record
if,
too?
if you're not gonna pay, sell. You know, or give it away, but, you know, I mean, we're sitting here scraping for money and there's 228,000 owed to us. So this whole super secret of I have information to this, you know, they don't. You know, Lori, who helps us with the bookkeeping, has more access to stuff than we have with Rever today. You know, from that, and, you know, again, there's no checks in Rever, there's no credit cards in Rever. You know, but I like, you know, we will have wasted thousands and thousands of dollars if we turn around from Rever. Now, you know, we're working towards getting to the point where you will have access to Rever. You as an owner will be able to go into Rever, fill out your form, upload your documents, we'll email you, hey, it's ready, come in and pay and get it. We're working on the next phase that you can actually pay for it online if you want. Then we'll email you your stickers ready, come and get it. You know, documents that we have loaded in your file, you'll be able to look at. You know, so that it's just a matter of this, we still have to work out of all the paper files, what are we gonna put in, you know, in what order, but we made a decision to start with, when we flip this on, what's new coming in is gonna be in there, and then we'll go back and continue to load it, but this tool will be owner facing. And let's face one thing, 2/3 of the people that own in Raintree, they're not here. They're not here. So an online system that they can do things with will be, you know, terrific access for them. We put a article about City and Village. They're upgrading their system. And I think the end of April, we'll have to communicate it out, but you'll be able to see your account on City and Village. You know, so we're trying to go modern here. You know, with this stuff. And for anybody that might be, you know, saying, well, you know, what are we gonna do with the office? We got 2 arms full of stuff that the office can do. So these automation tools aren't going to, you know, impact, you know, the fact that we're gonna need them. You know, if somebody's gonna sit down and call 280 owners to tell them we're about to take you to court, you know, that's gonna take a lot of time.
So John,
Yep.
the goal of Karen in the position she's in is to train the office, so they're ready to go and they take care of Rever, so we don't need Karen after she trains the office.
It's twofold.
She's building it too.
Rever is a piece of software that needs to be built out. So it needs to, as an example, when we put it in, so there's a, your basic owner information. Then we built the in the file drawer, if you will. Here's your auto sticker stuff, your golf cart stuff, and all this stuff can be reported on and searched on. So Karen at the moment is doing the builds of this stuff. And she is, actually, Karen trained me and I trained Tammy on the payables workflow.
So I guess my
But
question
long haul,
is this an ongoing position that is going
long haul,
to pay the?
no, long haul, no. Once we get this thing done, launched, and we know it's being used, because since it's a custom built system, we gotta figure out if what we built needs to be tweaked. You know, maybe we missed something. Maybe this isn't working as good as we hoped it would. So, but no, it's not long haul. Once we get this thing built, trained, we know it's working the way we want, then she will only be around if we need, the technical support of the build that we actually did. And we may not need that either.
I was just gonna say, is her admin key still gonna be active at that point, or?
Don't know. We'll have an answer for that right here today. Yes.
I still have a concern about the piece of property that goes from Highway B through to Forest Drive, and there's a driveway now that's been put in on that lot. And someone is actually using that because I can see the tracks in the snow and the dirt on the road. I have a concern, and I voiced my concern today. I sent him an email with a lot of information. I don't know if he has shared any of that with you, but if he has, then I just want to know that you got it and that you are all working.
There's a lot of discussion. Betsy, I think where we're at right now, that we're still working through it, but Denny, correct if I'm wrong. It does not appear that there is in writing anything saying you can't have a driveway on an unimproved lot. Everything we're finding says you need ACC approval. And I'm certain that he didn't, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. I probably didn't do ACC approval to put it in. So that's something that you could go back to him on. There is certainly something about security because but he's, at least from what I've been told, I haven't gone to inspect it, so that would be on Glenn as security, that he put a chain across trees in the property so that you can't just randomly drive all the way through from B into here. But I don't know that we have.
But does the driveway cross the property line into Raintree?
Yes.
If it does, and you guys don't do something about that, and he's allowed to use that for 10 years, that easement is no longer going to be good. I sent you the thing, the boundary of acquiescence.
No, I got it.
Prescriptive easement and. Anyway,
As far as I know, I think you two as the officers hopefully can remember this if I'm misstating this. I believe that Dave is talking with Ted. And supposedly, I think the game plan is that he's going to get some document of agreement in place.
Long as you get something in writing,
Right.
it can be tracked, because
Yep.
when I had this come up with me, I bought a lot in here. And come to find out that my neighbor's driveway was on my lot.
Yep.
And we asked him to move it, and he told us he could not touch it, and if he touched it in any way, shape, or form, then he would sue us. So we hired a lawyer, and he sued us, countersued. We have acquiescence and all these things, and to a big fight in the way I understand it is because he only lived in that house 8 years, but the previous owner that built the house had lived there, and that can go forward to him because it was known, open, he was mowing into our lot 50 feet, and we were never gonna be able to do anything about it if a judge had ruled in his favor, which the more I read about this, they could have very likely done, but they just kind of forced us to settle out of court. But we would never have been able, we would not have owned the line of our property would have still been there, but he would have been able to use that. And anybody that ever bought that would have been able to use that in perpetuity, because when we didn't know it, because we couldn't even survey the lot until we owned it. And so I just saying, don't just leave it alone. Be sure you look into it and get something signed, because what I've read, if he ever sells that and you let that go through there,
I mean,
anybody could buy it and do whatever they want.
I think my understanding, I don't know if the rest of you heard this or not, or if it was just Dave talking, that I believe that his point is for him to leave Raintree, go back to B and back in the property, I don't know, it's some X miles, so it's, you know, a tenth of it or whatever, if he uses that access. So, yeah, I'm like, well, you can't be driving dump trucks and these massive trucks through here out of it. So but you know, part of the thing about him putting the driveway through it, I don't believe there's anything that we can stop him over that.
A driveway, no, but it
If
still
it
has to go
parks-
through ACC. You can't drive on it. You still have the rules about a lot.
But you could build a fence on the iron easement to prevent it.
There's a problem there. I got tired of fighting person. And just said, okay, you can park there, but you have to sign this document saying that you will not have any claim on this property. I can give you a lot.
Either way, it still goes through ACC.
Give you a lot number, and you can look it up and see which.
Well, one
So if it's not
avenue
gonna-
you can do, if you put the gravel down on the lot, and then go through ACC.
Anything gravel too, because it was put in a couple months ago, anything gravel that is laid down has to go through ACC as well.
If you didn't go through ACC, you guys contact them.
Yes,
There's gravel now?
yes, he put in a culvert and gravel.
You put in a culvert without asking anybody?
There's a culvert under the gravel.
So I think it's ACC needs to contact them about that you gotta go through ACC. And
I don't know.
Betsy, I'll ask Dave when he gets back about the back. Yeah,
I do know for a fact that.
well, his culvert and driveway won't circumvent the front easement, the back easement. From it, but you know, I think our bigger concern is, you know, that he's got that and keeps that chain across the property so that it doesn't give unabated access into it.
Because we
I think the friends
reading that,
too, it's not gonna be just him going through that is what worries me the most.
I was reading that you can give someone permission to use your land. But in the scenario that they were doing was a man and his wife, they had some acreage and somebody asked for permission, a neighbor, to go through it. So they let him do that. And so he went through there and made a big path and was, you know, there in front of it. Then the parents died, the kids got the land, and a condominium bought the land from the other guy, who is now had Alzheimer's. And there was no proof because there was nothing in writing anywhere to prove that it was an agreement. And if they had simply had something in writing, then they could have, you know, gotten around it. So just saying, just cross your eyes and dot your T's for this one.
Okay. Got it. Appreciate it.
You'll let us know if the attorney.
And I would think if he put this stuff down against the rules,
What's that, a censure?
Multiple,
could be multiple. I
Yeah.
think you got it. I think you got to contact.
as long as he doesn't go through the ACC about it, and it's not approved, it adds up eventually.
Yeah.
And if he has that kind of money, I mean, Raintree will definitely thank him.
What you're, I think our end game here You know, we don't want somebody having an unsecured entrance from this point to that point. But the reality is there anything we can do about it? Because there's nothing currently in the rules or in the bylaws that says you can't do that. Now, you can't have driveways.
No,
There's a bunch of them in here.
And, you know, Denny and I found this out looking into this is that, you know what? I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's anything concretely in the bylaws, covenants, rules that says you can't have a driveway on an unimproved lot.
no,
There's all kinds of stuff that says, and it was reaffirmed last election, you can't park there. So I'm like, why would you put a driveway on an unimproved lot if you can't park there? And there's a bunch of them around here, you know? So, you know, I think it's something we ought to consider trying to button up that gap in this thing.
Well, what I was thinking, and you mentioned it, you know, and so did Tom, you know, there's an easement all the way around Raintree.
Right.
Our outer boundary has an easement. So where his land in here butts up to his land there's an easement in between those, all the way down the line. You know, if we were to put in a fence, it doesn't have to be a really fancy fence, but it's gotta be a fence that, you know, once it's in, it can't be disturbed. And we'd go all the way down that line, because you're gonna have the same problem with everybody theoretically. All those lots that back up. You can have an issue.
Unless there's a legal way to- something that they can sign, and then you don't have to put on a fence.
That's.
But see, the people that buy those lots, they're not gonna be people that live in here.
They live
Or that own the property.
both of them.
We got one now.
I know, one. What I'm saying is the other ones that buy those lots, well, what if they don't own property, if they don't have a lot of Raintree?
Well, I guess what we should do is maybe have Ted look at it, see what our legal.
Unless you put something up that they can't.
Expert on that.
I've talked to Dave about it, and my suggestion was to talk to Ted's lawyer.
Yep.
And say.
Right, that's the right
This is what we can do,
Yeah.
and then we'll go by that. If it means putting a fence all the way down there, fine. If it means something that you sign this contract and sign this, or we're gonna serve you with this and you can't go any further with this or whatever, but it's gotta come from him.
Yeah, because if you put something up that any of those lots, those people are gonna just come on and.
So, yeah, we're aware of it.
Lawyer now, and have something happen, and then have to get another.
So who's dealing,
Dave.
whose committee is this? That's dealing with it?
The Dave.
I think Dave is dealing with this.
He may know this, but there's two more lots just like that.
Yeah, right next to it.
Yeah.
That already have driveways going to the outside.
Yes.
On
just
B.
for the sake of-
On B.
And just so you know, when you're arguing, there's two more lots.
And they have, do they have? Is there a drive all the way through from one end up to the other?
One's,
Do they have the chain?
one, the house that they live in is on BB and the other one is on that.
Is there a chain across the property button up to,
One, yes. It's a good thing they had it too, because when dam failed, because of the 12-foot John, the people had access out of the property. The lake overtook the dam, washed down their low water bridge, which I think is a discussion about I think Raintree paid for that.
Yeah.
So it was good they had, and they're actually good neighbors. The other people, I don't know, it's off of Richmond, I don't know the story behind that one. Dave Getty, I think has some information. That's just something, you know, when you're arguing, there's something else.
When we go to Ted, then we need to give him all the information, so he can make it.
I think that's more the reason why, you know what, we gotta figure out if we're gonna have rules and stuff, we gotta enforce them. Because if you don't, you start setting precedents and people start winning against you. So. All right, any other questions from anybody? All right, thanks, everybody, appreciate it.
Have you considered looking into how much it would cost